Let's get everyone back to their computers. There's so many of you that are logged on, that are on to different activities. Can you guys please put your cameras on so we know that you're here? We're talking to real people. Good morning, Akshaya. Shilpa, Geeta, Rekha. Good morning, Neeta. So nice to see you all. Ami, I've been seeing her newly lately, but it's good to see new faces also sort of join on here. It's Thursday to Thursday, and it's good to see you all again. I hope that you spent some time really taking in what we discussed last Thursday, and just the idea of allowing yourself to introspect, allowing yourself to see the different aspects of you, understanding and embracing the different aspects of you that are there. We've started including some downloads and some meditations within the sessions for the simple realization that for many people to actually incorporate the ideas that we're sharing in the Thursday Thought Clinic may take time. So when we're giving you the downloads, when we're giving you the meditations, the idea with that is to give you that extra push so that you can bring your mind to where it needs to be to incorporate the changes that we're talking about. We also encourage you to share the sessions to whoever you think might benefit, because it is not about the typical significance of things that we're talking about, but we're just looking at understanding not just from our own perspective, but from all of you as well, which is why we encourage you to tell us on chat. That's the reason we have how many of ever of you that can come live so that we can interact with each one of you, understand whether the things that we're talking about are actually adding value to you, and that you can take them in, incorporate them within your life. If there is a certain blockage that is coming about, when we're made aware of that, we know that if there is any steps where we can guide you further on that, then we're able to do the same as well. Okay, so please go ahead, share those, share the learnings with as many as you can, because it helps open up someone else's mind as well. And when we're in a manner of discussion, we talk about, meeting with friends, meeting with family, meeting with people, and we speak about all sorts of things. So many times when we have a social experiment, or when we're talking about inculcating something positive within our lives, and we say, how about not having any criticism, any negative talk at all? Avoid saying anything negative or critical about yourself, about others, and just, we call it the new life experiment. It's not going to simply go away from a thought level for you, for anyone, but to not give it that additional energy by putting those words out there. People find it sometimes that they say, okay, I stopped for others, but there's still these thoughts I have about myself. What do I do? When we talk about simply eliminating it, some people come back with the issue that, yes, I'll meet my friends, but what do we talk about? We won't have anything common to talk about, because so much of what we're talking about is dwelling upon what is missing within our lives or those of others and what we see. Which is why we say share positive thoughts, share positive chains of things that move you, that influence you, so that when you're doing that, you have that to talk about. You have a conversation starter that is actually pushing energy in a positive manner forward. So we're looking at discussing, like we said, Indian culture has so many festivities that are there. And we spoke last week about Janmashtami, about its significance, about the significance of Ashtami in itself, and incorporating the materialistic and spiritual elements of ourselves and accepting all of those in harmony. Now, this week, we have started a new festival, and that is the festival of Paryushan. Paryushan, some people say it as, some people call it Paryushan. So, for whoever are the Jains over here that may be following it, it is an 8-day festival that the Jains follow very enthusiastically. We are Jain as well, where there is fasting that is observed, where people eat only a few times a day or they fast. And the idea of the whole festival is to introspect, to seek forgiveness. To seek forgiveness, not simply of one another, but to seek forgiveness of even the small, small beings that are there and that are in our existence that we may be hurting intentionally or unintentionally in our daily life. The essence of that festival is that. Now, that festival has been modified by humankind in many, many ways. In some ways, where people simply follow the principles very, very strictly, that these are the principles that are there of Jainism. So, no matter what happens, you must not eat this, you must not do this. But the understanding is missing. So, then the younger generation simply fails to understand why or what is the significance. Why must I do this? They spend so much time not having something and constantly thinking about it. There are other people who follow it with all fervor, but without that essence of what it might be about. The key takeaways for me, at least, and that since I'm sharing my perspective here, and the ones that I would urge each one to follow, whether you're a Jain, whether you're not a Jain, all the concepts are based in science. The key principle over there, the key takeaway is that of introspection, A, because all that time that is spent fasting, not eating, the idea is to dedicate these 8 days to yourself, to the worship of the Lord. So they give up eating, and all that they want to dedicate themselves to is going to the temple, listening to sermons about what our ancient learnings are, what the scriptures tell us, how we should live our life in a non-violent manner, about sitting each evening and having a pratikaman, which is introspection, where you're sitting and understanding what it is and how it is that you might be hurting the beings, how to seek forgiveness of them. On the 8th day is when you celebrate it at the max. Now, in whatever manner that each of us can, and that each of us are comfortable with it. I mean, I myself do not go and sit in the pratikaman because I'm not comfortable within that. But the idea is that if I can do that of my own accord as well, to each day, generally, I mean, throughout life, throughout our existence, we should take out those at least 10 to 15 minutes each day. If you can do it in a ritual where the whole energy of the room is filled with people doing that, then even better. But these 8 days, at least when everyone around is doing it, to take out at least that little time to introspect, to think about what it is and to think about how it is that I feel. Is there anything that is hurting me? Is there anyone that I am hurting? Can I extend compassion towards them? The answer could be yes or no. Now, when I looked up the definition of compassion, like the Google definition, the Oxford definition, there was a lot about sympathy and pity. So that is not something that I resonated with enough to share with each of you. So I'll share with you my definition of compassion, and I'd love to hear your definitions also if you would like to share them on the chat. So compassion is simply extending that unbiased love towards any being, any creature, any person. Compassion exists in spite of whatever their qualities, whatever it is about them that is hurtful to you. Compassion does not have to mean, that you accept each of those qualities or that you applaud a certain quality about a certain person. But when I know, for instance, that this person gets angry quickly, this person speaks rudely, but I choose to at least have a compassionate attitude towards them. To me, compassion is non-judgment. And that is my definition, okay? So I don't ask anyone to wow by it, but to me, compassion is non-judgment. When we can get to a truly non-judgmental place, that applies for anything and everything. You may choose to observe fasting, you may choose to not observe fasting. You may make certain dietary choices, you may make certain lifestyle choices. But when I can accept when I can be in a zone of no judgment and simply embrace and accept that you are doing what's best for you and I'm doing what's best for me. And I respect you for your choices and decision. And you respect me for mine. That to me is pure and true compassion. So even you might see that in daily life, you might meet people who have, see, dietary choices are something that a lot of, I think, at least new generation people can respect about another person. I might be vegetarian, but I'm all right if someone else chooses a non-vegetarian lifestyle because that is their choice. Those are their situations, those are their choices. Certain times when it comes to embracing and accepting qualities within another person, I might be monogamous. A person might choose to be in 2 relationships at a time. That is against my morals and principles. However, when a person comes to me for a session, for instance, I can only help them when I have compassion towards whatever it is that they're choosing. I can explain to them a different viewpoint. But when it comes out of compassion is the only time that that message actually goes through, because there is no judgment of what they are doing. There's simply an embracing and an acceptance that that is the choice you're making. This is the other choice that is there. Should you choose to make it? You will see every time that we're operating out of a zone of compassion, we eliminate a lot of the demons that we find ourselves struggling with. Competition. Competition is not simply, I want to do better than you do. Competition is also, I am better than you are. Competition is also, my thought is better than your thought. So a lot of people are not competitive in a traditional sense where they want to, do better than you are doing. They have different lifestyle choices completely. But anytime that I might come out of a space of proving my point, of proving the point that no, see, this lifestyle is better than what you're saying. This choice is better than yours. That's also competition. That is also judgment. So competition within ourselves, competition with others, judgment of the self and judgment of others. When we keep finding ourselves being critical of the things around us, and at most times, most people struggle the maximum with self-judgment, with self-criticism. This thing about me is not so great. This part of me is something I do not completely resonate with. When we're struggling with that self-judgment, that self-criticism, is where we really come to a stance and find that our growth begins to stagnate. So there comes the second element of this festival, which is forgiveness. Everyone is aware that, okay, Jains promote non-violence. They speak about extending that forgiveness to even the microbial creatures that you may be hurting. When you're walking, you might be hurting so many microorganisms. When you're eating, drinking anything, you're hurting other forms of life. So we speak about forgiveness and we extensively seek that forgiveness. But that forgiveness truly begins from how I am communicating with others. If there is someone that is truly hurting me, so in those 15 minutes that we're asking this week for you to take out, is simply to see, okay, if something or someone is truly hurting me, what about that? What about that person? What about them is hurting me? And is it possible for me to extend compassion towards the same? Is it possible for me to forgive myself and forgive the other person for the same? How can I extend this forgiveness? Forgiveness starts not only at the level of when we're talking about forgiving others. I've spoken about this to you and I repeat it again today. Does anyone remember the 4 levels of forgiveness that we have shared in previous sessions, in the previous videos? If you do, please share. Please share over here on the chat and give me 1 second, please. Forgiveness to others, self, situation, place. Brilliant. Okay, and let's see what Ami said also. Adding to what you said, compassion is the ability to non-judgmentally hold and extend grace towards others and ourselves, especially on the under the weather and hard days without compromising or violating each other's boundaries. Beautiful, Ami. Now it's only about us incorporating that in our everyday lives that is there. Okay, but that is really beautifully said. So, forgiveness, as I've always shared with each of you, is we speak about forgiving others, and we feel like this. I can guarantee you, I mean, anytime in a session, I've asked a person, we're working towards an issue, we've reached a point where they reach the source of where they have felt most vulnerable, most hurt in lives. And then we're talking to them and we ask them, okay, so what happened? And they tell you about what has happened in that situation. And whenever we ask them, are you ready to forgive them? 100 out of 100 times people will say yes. And then the next question is, like, because so many times then we go in and we say, okay, let's see how we can proceed with this forgiveness, how we can enable this forgiveness. Let's see if at a spiritual level, at a belief level, at a level of how we hold that feeling on in every cell of our body, if we can send this forgiveness forward. And we see that energy is simply not getting out of their system. And there comes the question that you know that it's okay if you're not ready to forgive them yet. It's okay to say no. It's okay to simply send that energy to the light if you aren't ready to move on from there. Let's see the learning that is there. It is not compulsory to forgive at this point. Are you ready to forgive them yet? And there's so many times a no. Because they say yes first, and then there's so much on in their mind because they're thinking about how can I forgive them? If I forgive them, it's like I'm okay with that sort of behavior in my life. A person might have been abused. A person might have had somebody disrespect them all the time. Person might have been through any number of where somebody has been defrauded. So many different situations. And when someone simply comes and says, everyone knows the correct thing to do is to forgive. So healer comes and tells you, are you ready to forgive them? I say yes. But in my mind, I'm burning up because there's so many things that are bothering me about this situation. And at that point, forgiveness, just asking them to forgive them might not be where they might be at. So what do we do then? The minute they understand that this situation has come to me for a learning, that their mind, their body might be holding on to that situation, holding on to that hurt, holding on to the resentment, holding on to the anger with the other person, holding on to any number of emotions that they are, is because they feel like, okay, if I hold on to this grudge, it's going to keep me safe. I will never make the same mistake again. I will never trust another person the way I did trust this person. Or I will stand up for myself if I hold on to this grudge. That's the reason they're holding on to that situation. The minute we get to what did you learn from this situation? And do you trust yourself enough to keep this learning forward, that you have learned this? A child learns ABC when they're younger. Sure, at that time you repeat and repeat and repeat that ABC for a long time. But post that, they can let those books go, let that same way of learning go, because now you know that that is something you have learned. It's okay to move forward. You'll have a walker for a child to learn how to walk initially. But there will be a point where you will say, now you can let it go. Now you can simply walk, run, do whatever it is. Now you can dance, you learn Beautiful manipulation of those same two legs, because now you've learned the fundamental that was there. So now run. I will not have my child use that walker forever. I will not wonder that, okay, they've learned how to walk, but they don't know how to move their legs in a way where they're crisscrossing them and dancing. So how will I go about that? Now I know that they have the fundamentals. So any situation, they will know how to move forward and grow with that. Same comes here. The minute I understand what my learning is, and I trust myself enough to keep that learning and to know that I've learned that learning, I allow myself to forgive. So many times we break up forgiveness into 4 steps, because you might realize that my problem with forgiveness is not coming traditionally in forgiving others. So I've forgiven the other person, but I'm still hurting. Why? So often say that generally when you're in a situation, for instance, you come home from work, you've had a long day, an exhausting day, and now everyone in the house is fighting, and they ask you what should we do, the child is not listening, and what are we supposed to do, and somebody speaks to you in a rude manner, and you lose your cool. You get so angry because you've already got a lot of things on your mind. You've come home tired, and now suddenly there's so much new information coming at you, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Why are you telling me this situation? You might just get angry and shout at the kids, shout at the people around you, and storm into your room. Now, after you've had some time to unwind, to cool down, maybe in 10 minutes, in half an hour, in 1 hour, you've cooled down and you go like, I was just tired. I wasn't even angry at them, and I lost my cool at them. So now all that energy of anger that I sent towards them, right? When I'm in that moment, I sent so much energy of anger towards those people, and I went into the room. Now, the minute that introspection hits for me, because most people who get angry come to us for sessions saying, listen, I am so, sad that I get so angry. I'm so angry at myself for getting so angry at others. Nobody likes being that way, right? So now, the minute that introspection hits, you go like, but I wasn't even angry at them. So now suddenly all that anger that was sent there gets lifted from there, and you're like, it's just the situation. The timing of when everything happened is why I actually got angry. So all that anger gets lifted. Some stays with you. A lot of it goes on the situation. Without realizing, you've already forgiven the other people involved in this situation. You had this fight in the house. You've already forgiven the others. Now that anger is lifted to the situation. As a little more time passes, you realize the situation was all for a certain reason, everything happens for a reason, and that's fine, and that's it. Anger from the situation gets lifted, and so many times it goes to God. God put me in this situation. Situation was so bad, but who put me there? In our minds, God puts us everywhere that we're put. Not true, because we orchestrate our own lives, but okay. So many times the situation goes towards, the anger moves towards God. We've forgiven the situation. As time moves forward, any and every situation you will understand within your life, however good, however bad it was, there was a certain learning that was there in that situation. We always realize through time that, oh yes, that was a very tough time in our lives, but we learned this thing. The minute that comes, that anger from God is also lifted. Now, where does all that anger go? Where does that whole, not just anger, where does that energy, the negative energy that was created in that situation stay? It stays with you. Time itself makes you forgive a lot of things. Sometimes you don't. So, which is when we sit down and go like, let's forgive this person. Let's see the learning that is there, and let's forgive them because they have moved forward in their life. We are sitting right where we're at, carrying that energy everywhere we go. One of the simplest ways of explaining people forgiveness in sessions is, see, they have moved forward. You're the one who's carrying the energy of the person that you dislike so much everywhere with you. Do you want to keep that weight with you? Do you want to keep that energy with you? It's like a stain that you're carrying that stain everywhere you go. You're carrying that person everywhere you go. You don't even carry the person and the people and the things that you love with you everywhere you go. But because you feel you have to, you're carrying the energy of this person that you dislike so much everywhere you go. It's influencing everything you do, every situation you are in. Do you want to carry this weight, or do you want to simply let it go? And when that clicks for a person, when they understand that they have learned a learning, that they're not going to repeat the same mistake, we do the downloads for that. And yes, Bina, we will do downloads before closing, but there's time for that. So anytime that comes in, that understanding comes in, that is when we can simply let go. We tell people, if you're not ready to forgive them, at least release that energy to the light. Feel lighter. Surrender it to the universe, surrender it to the creator of all that is, so you don't have to carry it everywhere. Now, in this whole process, we forgive every creature. Literally, Pratika is sitting and forgiving every creature that is there. Every ant, every bacteria, every virus that you've hurt, you're forgiving. Or you're seeking forgiveness from them. What about forgiving yourself? How often do you forgive yourself for getting angry? How often do you forgive yourself for feeling sad? You know that the feeling of helplessness comes so many times, not from actually feeling helpless, but from, it might be originating from a place where I'm like, I felt so sad. I couldn't do anything about it. And then later on, when you wish to be more empowered, you cannot forgive yourself for being so sad, for being so helpless. That's why you're unable to move forward from there, because you're constantly like, look at what I have done to myself. I constantly just feel sorry for myself. You keep reiterating to yourself how helpless you are and how helpless you feel for feeling helpless before. How angry you feel for getting angry before. How selfish you've been because you were selfish before. Humans are the only race in all of existence that punishes themselves for one mistake over and over and over and over again. Sometimes not even just 3-4 times, sometimes for months, sometimes for lifetimes. We sit and resolve a situation and we realize it's a simple learning. And since lifetimes, we're so angry that we did something wrong, or we're so ashamed that we didn't get something right in the first go, that we misused our power, that we did n number of things, that now we're punishing ourselves for it lifetime after lifetime. Did we forgive ourselves? No. Did we correct ourselves? No. But we just say, you know what, I'll just punish you. So a student makes one mistake in the class, and now the teacher's remedy for that is writing 100 times, I will never make this mistake again. So I will never shout in class. I will never shout in class. I will never make X mistake again. So we're telling them, write that. And then again, after 1 week, when they come, we're like, remember you made that mistake? Now again, go write 100 times and come. And that child keeps doing that. Now, of course, teachers do not do this. Okay. But the thing is, in way of analogy, it's to understand, if I keep telling them, if they were shouting and creating a nuisance in class, or if they got a sum wrong in class, or whatever it might be, I tell them, you know what, this is your mistake. Write down 100 times, I will not make this mistake. Next week, when they come to class, again, I tell them, first write down 100 times, you will not make this mistake, then we will move ahead. And then they keep repeating that whole year, next year, lifetime after lifetime. But I never told them what the correct thing to do was. I never told them what they were actually supposed to do or how to correct that mistake. So now when somebody talks about that issue, they know what they did wrong, and they might be able to tell you that, and they'll tell you how horrible they are for doing that wrong. But you ask them what the correct thing is, or whether they're doing that, and they're like, what? They have no clue what you're talking about. Think about the things that you feel angry at yourself for, sorry about something you've done, sad about being sad before, helpless, anything at all. Any area where you've lacked forgiving yourself. and look at whether you know what the correct or how to correct that situation or how to remedy that situation. Have you taken the corrective measures for it? So many times people will come in a session and repetitively tell us you're working on them, or you're doing a couple therapy, you're doing a family therapy, and when they get tired and they don't want to do anything about it now, when they want to just run away, they say, yes, it's all my fault, it's all my fault, I'm only the culprit, I only have done everything wrong, I have to correct myself, I know that. And then you ask them, okay, so how are you doing that? Like, I don't know that yet, but I know it's my mistake, so have they healed, or have they gotten more into that same rabbit hole? Next time you find yourself saying that it was my fault, it was my mistake, whether to another person or to yourself, very often people feel these things and still don't go out and say sorry to the other person, because that's a whole other range of emotions they have to yet deal with. Anytime that you find yourself saying that, feeling that, thinking that, go like, okay, if I was helpless before, if I was angry before, if I was sad before, whatever your emotion, all emotions are valid, as I always say. How am I now? Am I the same way? Do I feel the same way? Or do I feel differently? I choose to heal now, yes. But now also another thing to think about is, how am I going to do that? So how do I not get angry anymore? How do I not feel helpless anymore? What can I do about it? Working through the past is one thing, but sometimes even seeing one simple action, because Anusha shared empowering ourselves, working through the past, and those are very important elements. Now, when you've learned a healing modality, you know how to work through that, how to release that, so that you're not carrying that backlog. But later, or sort of earlier, you have to figure what action step you can take to shift that energy. What can I do to move forward? What can I do so that I'm not creating more of that same energy? That introspection is going to truly help you to forgive and to let go of that energy that is there. That introspection within yourself, that introspection of the things that are around you, and move from a point of introspection to true and actual action. What action can I take to shift my reality? What action can I take to be more compassionate? Start with wherever you are at. We all know how to be compassionate. We all know how to be forgiving. If you simply notice your behavior with the people, the thing that you love most in the world, it could be, everyone has a soft corner for someone, generally. It could be your parents, it could be your younger sibling, it could be your kids, it could be your pet. Just observe that when they make a mistake and they come and apologize to you, how long do you take to forgive them? You'll forgive them in an instant. Now they come and keep telling sorry to you. Just today morning, my son did something and then I was really upset, and he came, he's like, I'm sorry, mama. And then I was just like, yeah, it's okay. And then he kept saying sorry for the next 5 minutes. But because I went for a shower and he thought that, so he's like, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, mama, but I'm sorry, mama, but I'm sorry, mama. And I was like, yes, I've forgiven you. It's fine. Can we move forward now? If someone around you, even if it's just your house help, you might not have a soft corner for, you might or you might not. But if they make a mistake and they keep saying sorry to you, you're also going to be like, it's fine, just do not repeat that mistake again. We're not looking for the apology, we're looking for change. We'll tell them as well, right? If they've broken a glass, they'll say sorry, you'll be like, it's okay. Just don't make the mistake again. Now, if for 3 days they keep saying sorry, you're going to start feeling bad and going to start saying, listen, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shout at you so much. So please, now you forgive me, because I'm sorry that I made you feel so sorry. Right? So you're just going to be like, just change it. I accept your forgiveness. I'm sorry I shouted at you. Let's move forward. The minute that forgiveness comes from both ends, it's very easy to then move forward to coil those wheels. So today, this week, why is it that we're setting things for every week? It's something we should practice every day in our lives. But setting it for every week is in the hope that at least if it's for a shorter time, that we're going to follow it, that we're going to do it religiously. It's taking the human aspect of, getting bored really easily in mind and hoping that at least when it's for a short amount of time, then that's something that's going to happen. So just spend whatever time that you can to introspect, to see if there's anything hurting you. If that is something you can extend compassion towards. Anytime that we're compassionate about something, that simple and that beautiful and pure energy just flows out. No judgment, no proving, no competition. People come and say, I've learned healing. Now how do I prove to the people around me that what I'm doing is valid, that what I'm learning is valid? I said, don't prove. If they want to do it, let them do it. If they don't want to do it, let them be. You share with them what you're doing. The minute you're going to share with compassion, that is the energy that'll come out. The minute you're sharing it or you're healing a person to show them that, see, this works, generally that doesn't work as smoothly because you're not working with the highest energy of compassion. You're doing it to prove a point. So automatically that survival mechanism, automatically that competition, all of those energies get triggered. But the minute I'm simply saying or sharing something because I truly am one with it, that is all it is. You will see people with really strong opinions in their lives. Whether it is about something they do personally, a personal lifestyle choice, a professional choice, a spiritual choice that they're making, anything at all. Sometimes people have a very strong opinion about something. They feel very passionately about something. But you'll see the ones that share with you with compassion and from a space where they are very comfortable with their choices. They're not sharing with you to change your choices or to ask you your choices. They're simply sharing what they feel, how they operate in their lives, what they believe. Automatically, you will notice there's such a respect towards what they have to say that may or may not fit with my lifestyle and my way of living. But notice anyone of that sort within your life. They're like, I do this for this reason. And there's so much respect for what they're doing. So when you're going to be comfortable in complete acceptance, so that this flows from last week, where we spoke about complete acceptance of the self. And have that compassion towards yourself, operate out of that compassionate behavior. Automatically, you're creating compassion around you. When you're choosing forgiveness, have that forgiveness not just for others, have it for others. See your learning so you can truly forgive. Have it for yourself too. Forgive the other person, forgive the situation, forgive God, forgive yourself. Understand that forgiveness is never something you're doing for another person. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself. It's one of the most selfish things to do, honestly, and it's one of the best things to do. Forgiveness is something we do for ourselves to liberate that energy that we're carrying of others forward, to simply let it go back to where it belongs and to move forward, to feel light when you move forward. Feeling that lightness from within. So you're moving forward without any pressure, what another person thinks, how they feel, what they think, what is going to happen. I feel compassion and forgiveness, and that is what I breathe in and breathe out. As simple as that. So choosing forgiveness, choosing joy. What if we can't understand the lesson? Then see if it is simply something, sometimes just having that act of compassion. The lesson becomes very necessary, JSL, when it is something where I simply cannot move forward. In the smaller situations of life that is there, you will realize it might just be a misplaced emotion. Like I said, you walked into the house, you weren't actually angry. You were just tired, and because everything came to you at that time, that tiredness and that exhaustion got out in the form of anger. And now you wish to, seeking forgiveness is also very important. Huh? A big part of that is letting your ego go, because only then we can truly find ourselves in a place where we're saying sorry and we mean it. Have you seen this tone? Most people say sorry now. Sorry. It's fine. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And you're just like, oh, I don't know whether you're doing me a favor or what you're doing here, really. But when you genuinely feel sorry, you're like, I'm sorry. So sometimes it's a misplaced emotion. When I'm talking about a lesson, Jaisal, it is many a times when people are struggling with the bigger things. Nothing is small or big, but in a manner where they simply are so scared to let go. Most times we are ready to forgive. We don't know that we have to also forgive ourselves, and which is why that energy still remains. But most times we are in a space where we genuinely understand that this was not correct, or this is a situation I want resolution in. Let's forgive, seek forgiveness. Seeking forgiveness, very, very important. Okay, so you'll see most situations when you're ready for that. Now we've had people who've come in and they've been through abuse, where somebody has victimized them, somebody has sexually, physically abused them, emotionally abused them. That could be a person that they know very well. Now, when you're talking about forgiveness, they're actually still interacting with them socially. When we speak about forgiveness, it brings up so many emotions, because they feel like that means I'm condemning their behavior as correct. That's when we explain them that you're anyway interacting with them, but you're carrying their energy everywhere with you. Either confront it or let it go. Do not hold on to that energy yourself. And at that point, when we see what was your biggest learning, or what are you scared will happen if you forgive them, that is when they come and share with you, come and tell you that I'm just scared that, if I trust another person like that. Or my learning was that I needed to stand up for myself and say, no, I will not accept this. And we tell them, are you ready to understand that you've grown from that point? And do you feel like you will do that now? If God forbid you're in a similar situation again, they say, yes, of course. So then it's about, do you trust yourself to have that learning with you no matter where you go? Because now it's about your soul's growth. You have learned to walk. Now, my dear, you run, you dance, you tango, you jump, you do whatever you want. We don't check with our child if after they learn to walk, now if they know how to run, if they know how to dance. You just know that, oh, okay, cool, now this is something new that they're doing. And that also you will celebrate the first 3 times. The 4th time, you're like, oh yeah, of course, now they're doing this too. So you also have that capability to learn. But when we're scared to be hurt again, we hold on to grudges because we're scared that we'll be hurt again. So that point we speak about trusting yourself. The younger you couldn't stand up for you, but today you can. So can you do that? And at a level, sometimes, many a times, you're right, it's very difficult to get to that learning ourselves, specifically if we have been very deeply hurt. It's like I am so involved in the situation myself, like I'm in quicksand myself. So I might have all the strength, but the more I am, wanting to get out, the deeper I'm getting inside. In that case, I always tell people, extend a hand. You do not need to prove how strong you are. We all know you're strong. Each individual is blessed with certain unique abilities. We're very strong in our own being. We're very beautiful beings. We know the solution to everything. We created the problem, so we know the solution better than any other person out there. But when you are in the middle of the situation, you cannot see the bigger picture. When you are in kitchad, in quicksand, your strength is working against you, because the more you're wanting to get out, the deeper it's pulling you in. So in that case, stop resisting, stop proving your strength, stop doing that, and simply extend a hand, get the help, go for a professional session, go to a person who understands this situation and can help you, go for a class. There's nothing wrong. Seek that help, let that person pull you out, and then you pull out another 10 people. Nobody is questioning your strength. Use your strength for good when you are out yourself. But when you need it, extend a hand, let yourself be pulled out. Okay, so that at that point, a healer, a professional is going to be able to help you see what the lesson was, help you incorporate everything that needed to be incorporated within it. Okay, so I'm just going to connect now, see whatever downloads or so that come in, and I hope that you all have taken in the things that we wanted to share. And let's see what downloads come now. So would each person over here like to know that I know and understand the creator of all that is his definition and perspective of compassion, that I know what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to live my daily life being and feeling truly compassionate towards myself, towards those around me, being in an energy of acceptance and non judgment of myself, of all that I am, of all the qualities that I hold, of my life's journey and process, of the speed at which I take my learnings, knowing that there's always scope for betterment and shift, and that choice is for me to make, and that choice is something that I can choose to make at any given point, but that I choose to operate within my daily life with that compassionate and the within myself and with that compassion for those around me as well. That includes the people, the beings, the organisms, the situations around me. That I choose to be in an energy of compassion and acceptance as per the creator of all that is from the seventh plane, that I know and understand the creator of all that is his definition and perspective of forgiveness. And I know what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to have the energy of forgiveness, to see that the energy of forgiveness is one of the strongest in the universe, that I choose the energy of forgiveness, and that I know what it feels like to forgive those that may have hurt me in the past, to forgive those situations, to trust myself for having taken the learnings from those situations, and to trust that this learning is something that my mind, body, and soul has taken, that I can choose to incorporate it in the future and in my present, that I know what it feels like to be able to forgive those people, to see them through the energy of compassion and through the lens of compassion, and for who they truly are, for the energy of their souls and how magnificent that is, to be able to forgive those around me, to be able to forgive the situations that were hurtful to me, to be able to forgive God, and to wholly and completely be able to forgive myself through each of these situations, for reacting a certain way, for feeling a certain way, to and to understand that my soul is on a journey of growth itself, and that this journey has me having many learnings, and as I take those learnings, it is safe and possible for me to forgive the earlier versions of myself that didn't know better, that I forgive myself and take the learnings and grow and grow stronger forward in my life, that I know what it feels like to live my energy with the to live my life with the energy of forgiveness, and to know what it feels like to have this energy of forgiveness extend forward, that I know what it feels like to seek forgiveness from others as well, that it is safe and possible for me to be in humble sense and to be able to see what my learnings and lessons in life are, to be able to take those learnings and lessons and to be able to seek for forgiveness wherever I may have wronged someone through my thoughts, actions, or behaviors, that I seek forgiveness from others as well, that I seek forgiveness from all those who I may have hurt intentionally and unintentionally, that I know that the energy of forgiveness makes us lighter, makes us move forward, and that there is no shame in asking for forgiveness or for help, that I allow myself to seek forgiveness from all who I may have hurt, that I know what it feels like to live my life with this energy of lightness and in true connection with myself and my entire being, that I choose to be one now, I choose to be whole, I choose to be complete, and I choose to grow ahead in my life. I choose to move forward in my life and to incorporate positive shifts within my life. That can this be, are you, do you each want this download and these feelings to be downloaded within you in every cell, atom, molecule of your body, every area of your life, at all four levels of your belief systems, in any and every language ever known or understood by you, for your highest and best, in your highest and best way. Simply affirm yes in your mind to receive these downloads. And as you do, simply imagine this beautiful light, all these feelings that we've just spoken about, enter your space like a waterfall of glistening light, entering your space, cleansing it, making it whole and complete, letting go of all of that was weighing you down. Forgiving, 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 forgiving everyone that's hurt you. Know that the learnings are always yours. Forgiving those that have hurt you, forgiving the situations, forgiving God. Most importantly, forgiving yourself. And in humble sense, with your hands bowed, simply seeking forgiveness as well. Hands together, simply bowing down, seeking forgiveness of all those beings, of all those creatures, of all those humans, that through your thoughts, your words, your actions, intentionally or unintentionally, you hurt along life's process. Seeking forgiveness and seeking through God's sense and being that beautiful light of compassion and that of introspection, that of action, that of change. So you may be able to see how to amend your mistakes, so that you may understand that mistakes are made to learn from, not to live within. So now, today, and in this moment, as you make the choice to learn from your mistakes, to change your thoughts and actions so that you can grow forward from your mistakes, so that you can progress forward from your mistakes, rather than to live within that energy. Make that conscious choice that I choose to learn and take the action forward. So I may make my life better. That's a choice you're making for yourself, not for the other. Let that beautiful energy of compassion, of non-judgment, simply wash over you. So you may be refreshed to start wherever you may have stopped. To start from that journey and to start on that journey of growth, of introspection, of change. And whenever you feel ready, feeling grounded, feeling humbled, simply come back to this room and open your eyes. Everyone's almost. So thank you everyone for taking us through this journey also. Every time we're teaching to you, we're going through those thoughts ourselves. Remember always, mistakes are not for us to live and ruminate and marinate within. When we stop the flow of forgiveness, we're marinating in our own mistakes. A mistake that came to us, any life lesson, any mistakes come to us so that we can learn something. A situation comes in our life so we can learn from it and move forward. But if we decide to pause there, it's like marinating in the same juices again and again and again. We're making it stronger rather than letting it go. But if you so have the courage to see what you can do to shift that, then that same mistake is going to be something that was a blessing for you, because you're going to learn from it and progress forwards exponentially from there. Okay, so don't write 100 times the same mistake you've made. And even if you're asked to do that, your situation dictates it. Your life situation, your life teacher dictates that you write that I made this mistake 100 times. Still have the courage to go forward and ask, how can I make a different choice? How can I not repeat this mistake again? What is my learning? What is the correct way of operating? And choose that. Choose that consciously. Actions are always a conscious choice. Everything is not left to the energy of healing and it just simply changing. Time heals, but time heals when you take action towards it. If you just sit in that same place and say time will heal it, it will not. Time will make you not feel that anymore. You're feeling very cold. After some time, you won't feel cold anymore. But if you do not take the action to actually see and do something, those joints will get stiff in that cold. If I go like, no, I'm feeling very cold, but time will heal it, time will heal it, and I just sit in one place, your joints will get stiff. This time will make you feel better. You won't feel that anymore, but internally your joints are getting stiff. So you start taking action, you start moving, and automatically you are enjoying that cold. Okay. So wishing you all a very, very beautiful week. For those that are following the festival of Pajushan, wishing everyone a very, very happy Pajushan. Mom's here too. I think she'll also take a few minutes. I told her actually halfway through I might have her take the session, but I think I just like having her sit there.
No, I just came here on the occasion of Pajushan to seek forgiveness from everyone, because you all may have certain expectations from us. I know many of you still want things to happen every day, Monday to Friday, and it is happening from Thursday to Thursday. So I thought it is the good time to seek for forgiveness, and Richa has explained it very beautifully. Let's all of us take a vow to use it and like put it into action rather than just listening, and just maintain a diary. I know there are many people like Sukham and few others who are actually writing it down. And but what are the action things that nobody has yet shown me? Like I know Shilpa also writes down, but nobody on the group has ever shown me that this is what we learned on week 1, this is what we learned on week 2, this is what we learned on week 3, this is what we did, these are the changes. And that is what something we are looking forward to. The minute we will realize that you guys have started taking action, there is always a chance of us having more days with you. But before that, we are really expecting your actions. So forgive us for that, and let's all of us forgive ourselves, forgive God anytime in our anger, in our frustration, where we would have said, God, I'm really angry with you. Why did you do this to me? We never go and say, thank you, God, this happened to me. Veena is still asking for how about today's downloads. Veena, didn't you just receive downloads from Richa?
I think her mind was just geared to downloads. When it happened, she just missed it.
No, the downloads were given to everyone, Veena. And we, I think probably she wants some more downloads.
Maybe she'll hear the session and then she might have missed it for some reason.
No, let's do, I'll just do a quick download for everyone so that Veena is happy. Like in this particular week, we don't want anyone to go with that frustration of that, we haven't got our downloads. So I didn't come here for downloads, but I'll do downloads, Bina, especially for you and all. So we'll do the downloads and close today's session. Yeah, one sec. So would you all like to know what it feels like connect to the powerhouse within you, to the energy of pure love, the element of your own soul, and the first ever form that you chose when you came down on the earth, the form of love, compassion that you had begin your journey with, and you had started your journey with. So I know what it feels like to connect to that powerhouse within me and choose to operate with the same. I understand it how to do that through creator's definition and perspective of the seventh plane of creator of all that is. I know what it feels like to know that I am a powerful soul and I allow my soul's energy to dictate the situations in my life. I allow my soul's energy to guide me through all ups and downs of the life. I allow my subconscious mind to connect to the consciousness of my higher self. I know what it feels like to allow myself to be in synchronicity and in connection with my purpose of life and allow the flow to come into my life. I am in flow with the flow of the universe and I allow this flow to enact and demonstrate through my words, through my actions. I know I am this pure energy of love. I attract the pure love into my life and I am surrounded by the pure energy of love all around me. In this energy of love, everything that across time and space, through different lifetimes, through generations, through eternity, between the times, in the different forms that my soul may have chosen to take in, and the different roles that I may have chosen to play with, anywhere, any energy of resentment, regret, anger, hatred, prejudices, grudges that I might be holding on to, I let it melt and I forgive myself for that and I forgive others for demonstrating that energy. I understand what it feels like to differentiate the quality of a person from the person in itself. And I know I am the change, allowing myself to bring change in my surrounding and that it is completely possible. I understand how to do that fearlessly and in complete flow with the energy of the creator of all that is of the seventh plane and that it is completely possible. And I choose to live my daily life with that energy from now, from this moment onwards, into every cell of my body, every area of my life, at all the four level of my beliefs, for my highest and best in my highest and best possible way, into my present reality, in my present human form on this earth. I know I belong. I allow that change to happen. And in all the parallel universe realities of mine that I am enacting now, I allow these feelings to be downloaded into them as well. I allow these feelings to be downloaded into my angel guides, my spirit guides, my higher self. Any part of me is holding on to the viruses of the bacteria in the body, these feelings be downloaded into them, also allowing the viruses to be converted into the harmless substance and allowing my emotional, mental, physical immunity to be enhanced and connecting me back with the strength that I am, connecting me back with the power of my soul into every cell of your body, every area of your life, at all the four level of your beliefs, for each one's highest and best, and in the highest and best possible way for each one. Just say yes to receive these feelings. Creator of all that is, it is commanded to instill these feelings into everyone who says yes now and later while watching the video for each one's highest and best, for the highest and best for them. Thank you. Passing unconditional love, light, and healing to each one present here. And just before you open your eyes, just feel that bright sun, the golden light, the center of your chest, in your heart, and that light spreading outwards as if your entire body and around you, everywhere is simply light. To know that this is the light of your soul and you are connected with the powerhouse of your soul. From this moment onwards, from the time you open your eyes, you choose to operate with this light now in complete surrender and in complete acceptance, being the energy of love, attracting the energy of love, and being surrounded by the energy of love. So just feeling that light, feeling joyous, happier, feeling really good. As in when you feel fine, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. So it is 10:10. We have extended the session by 10 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. See you all next Thursday. So thank you from the team Cesta. Thank you from Richa. Thank you from Sangeeta. Thank you from Mahek, from the entire team Cesta. Thank you. Wishing you all a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, connected with the power of your soul and operating from your soul's powerhouse. Thank you. See you all next Thursday. Yeah.